coffee. Oh, thank you for refilling my coffee.
That's great.
Hi, friends. You know I like to give it a few minutes every time. Oh, hi, Annie. Okay, so if you're joining us in the comments, let us know where you're joining us from and what your favorite breakfast food is. Albert made me avocado toast with homegrown microgreens. That is my favorite breakfast.
Tomatoes were also grown outside.
Oh, and homegrown tomatoes. I came downstairs and I was like, what's for breakfast? And they were like, oh, what did you say, millennial?
The food of the millennials.
The food of the millennials. And I was like, avocado toast with microgreens. I'm stalling to always give people a few minutes to join. Chicken and waffles for breakfast. Jetsy! Hi, Jetsy. French toast. Girl, I already know. Biscuits and gravy. If you're joining us, tell us where you're joining us from and what your favorite, breakfast food is. Annie says, can I answer pervertedly?
You can always answer pervertedly.
Breakfast burritos. I hope Annie's gonna say pussy. Yes. Joining from Philly. Yes, so really cool before we start. My husband, Joe, notorious for losing his phone, lost his phone the day that I left to come visit Albert, and so I have not been able to talk to him or my kids, and Joe just figured out how to call me on his computer. And so Albert just got to meet my little turkey boy, and it was so unbelievably cute. Okay, we're gonna get started. Wow, look at
That's not a lot.
yeah. Hi, TikTok. I like to have a threesome between me and TikTok and Instagram. So we are live on TikTok and Instagram right now. Okay, are you ready? It's our first live together.
I'm so nervous.
Okay. Welcome to Polyamory Church. Happy Sunday, my friends. We're going to talk about just kind of like our story and what's going on because, two content creators have come together to explore each other and learn, walk this polyamorous path. And so I live my life very vulnerably on my page. And so I'm very happy to capture what I'm going through at any given moment, even my failures. And so we are going to talk about today how we connected, the conscious approach we're taking to this, whatever this is. I almost said love story, but we are not doing that right now. And what we're learning individually, because when we connected, we were both very honest with each other. I think that's like what I asked you blatantly, like, what are you learning on your path right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, which I'm sure was very sexy. So that's what we're going to do. And we're also going to take questions, but usually you guys know when I'm in my flow, I don't capture questions right away. So you can ask questions in the moment when you have them, but likely at the end, we'll get to them. So first, how we connected. You know that we've talked about this before. A lot of the content creators have talked about this before, that there is a private chat with a good chunk of the big content creators. Some of the biggest content creators opt out of the chat. And so it's kind of this eclectic mix of like up and coming polyam content creators, and I'm absolutely in love with it. I'm in love with every single person in there. And in that chat, it's very humbling because we're not just in there patting each other on the back. There is a lot of that happening, but we hold each other accountable. We bounce ideas off each other. We come to each other in moments of like total agony and pain. Yeah. It's really beautiful. And so I've been in that chat. I believe the chat was started by Leanne at Polyphilia Blog, who I love to the ends of this earth. And Albert was recently brought in.
Yeah, and I just had this huge imposter syndrome moment. Like, do I belong here? Like,
Everyone goes through that. So, like, everyone, the moment they're brought in, is like, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And then, yeah, and I don't mean for it to sound like an exclusive club. It's pretty casual, and there's a limit to how many people can be in it. And so we're not gatekeeping. It's literally just people will come in, hang out for a little bit, and then be like, hey guys, I'm taking a break from Instagram, or I'm just not participating in this chat. You should give my spot to someone else. And so the group's kind of always changing, but it is in there to like grow as content creators and hold each other accountable and call each other out on shit. Like it's very polyamorous. So anyway, they were brought into the chat, and honestly, love your content. And, you know, like, one day I saw you say something about Sacramento, and I was like, I think
far away.
yeah. So I'm in Reno. Sacramento's only 2 hours away. So I joked that we should go on a date. And then, like, it just kind of went from there.
It actually started with the Discord, the modding of the Discord.
Is that how it started?
Yeah. Well, at least from my point of view.
Yeah, please
I
tell
was
me.
like, I jumped into the Discord server that you had sent. And I was like, wow, like, she's in charge of this? Like, this is remodeled. And I was very impressed. I was just like, this is the community building kind of thing that I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, I was like, I need to get to know more. Like, this person, I need to know them
I love
better.
this.
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's my Cancer Moon. If you're not on Remodeled Love's free Discord server, please get over there, because it's a space that I can guarantee is a safe, non-toxic place to chat with other polyamorous folks who have the Remodeled Love vibe. So if you like my vibe, but to be honest with you, my Discord was built completely by some incredible mods. So I really feel like I can't take credit for any of the Discord, but I take credit for the vibe, or maybe the birth, maybe something like
The
that.
whole concept, the idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Be a little more, give yourself that credit.
Okay, thanks. Yes, and you are a mod in this space. Yeah.
I'm a mod for the BIPOC channel.
Yes, and the BIPOC channel on our Discord, you have to identify as BIPOC through a bot to even get into the room. So the room is locked to non-BIPOC folks. Even the mods, like even the white mods, we have a lot of mods. We don't go in the room, so it's a very safe space. And you told me this weekend that it's like really safe.
Yeah, no, we feel very safe to talk about the issues that we may keep to ourselves in other channels, that we may feel like, oh, we don't want to offend anyone by saying this, but this is the reality that we live in.
That's literally why that channel was built. There's a lot of rooms over there that you should go check out. So anyway, that's a different plug. So then we started chatting, because I was like, we should go on a date sometime in the future, in the next 10 years, you know? But then we started chatting, and I was like, oh, no, we really should go on a date. And then I was like...
When are we going on a date?
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, I had surgery, and I really wanted to go to the hot springs for my birthday, which is Tuesday, by the way.
Happy birthday!
And I'm a birthday bitch. I think it's a Sagittarius thing.
It is.
Okay. And then I was like, my surgery wasn't healing, and I wanted to go to the hot springs, and I was like, I don't want to wait to heal. I want to come see you now. So that's how I ended up here this weekend. And we decided, well, Albert is a relationship anarchist, and me and Joe, my husband, and I are orienting toward relationship anarchy. It's very difficult as parents, specifically parents of young children. We can identify as relationship anarchists, and we can build our marriage and our family toward relationship anarchy, but there's just an extent to which there's going to be descriptive hierarchy, because we have an infant who is 8 months old and a 3.5-year-old. But I want to learn relationship anarchy, and I might as well learn now. And so the fact that we're taking a conscious approach to what our relationship is going to be is very relationship anarchy anyway. But also because of the things that I'm learning spiritually and as a polyamorous person right now, like that was just my goal for my next relationship anyway, was to like take a very conscious approach to what we're building. And same for you, yeah?
Yeah, I found that in so many of my relationships, I just sort of dived into them. It's like I'm crushing, so like this is what you're supposed to do, right? You're just supposed to like be like, I love you, and like when are we gonna move in together? And
Oh my God, totally. So if we had connected at any other point, we would have lesbian U-Haul.
I wanted to say, I saw the cycle happening over and over again, and I saw how disastrous it was at the end of each one. So I wanted to say, okay, well, how do I stop this? Like, what approach do I have to take in order to stop that cycle?
Man, this is crazy, the timing. So for me personally, we've been polyamorous for 9 years, and I am very polyamorous. So I am very actively on dating apps, and I take a very active approach to looking for partners. I live in Reno, which is a mid-sized city. So the polyamorous community there is not huge. It is very difficult to connect with fellow polyamorous people. And if they are polyamorous, the odds that you have a vibe with them is like low. Most of the cool polyamorous people that you have a vibe with are saturated. So like all the cool poly folks are saturated. And so these are the reasons I have of why I've ended up dating mostly non-polyamorous folks that I had a chemistry with. I fully admit that subconsciously I may draw in non-polyam folks because maybe one, I was like subconsciously sabotaging myself and calling in the same experience over and over to learn a lesson. Mm-hmm. I also fully admit that on a subconscious level, I maybe was attracting a space where I was the teacher. And I've been aware of that the whole time. So I always had it in my mind of like, okay, Jess, be very critical of, are you just trying to be a teacher in the space because you don't want to be a student in the relationship space? And regardless of that consciousness, I did it anyway. So to be honest with you, I've had in the last 8 years, maybe like 20 really fun, really intense relationships that never lasted more than 2 to 3 months. Most of them ended okay, usually with me getting my heart broken because they found someone else that they wanted to be monogamous with. I definitely have a pattern of dating some people who were definitely narcissists and who were mirroring and matching my very neurodivergent Venus and Scorpio lesbian U-Haul hopeful romantic energy. They would mirror that back to me, and the relationship would appear to be one thing, and then around that 2-month mark that energy would switch and it would become very apparent that they weren't who they said they were. I have also just recently learned, not that I am neurodivergent, but how neurodivergent I am, and Leanne from Polyphilia blog actually is kind of like mentoring me in that way. And she was like, neurodivergent people are like shark food to narcissists because we take everything at face value. That was comforting to me in a way because I really beat myself up a lot for why I kept calling in that experience. But that makes sense to me as well, too. So I have just been learning the same lesson over and over and over again. And so, that's kind of like where I was at coming in. What about you?
I was just at a place in my life where I was noticing that I was meeting the same person over and over and over again. Like they had, like now in hindsight, I can be like, wow, I did not see it, but I was meeting the same person. I was dating the same person. Yes. And they had all the same behaviors. And I did my part the same over, just like a complete love bomb in the beginning. Just like giving them everything that they wanted in a way that they've never had it before. And then it just like went on from there. And the conscious decision to just say, I need to stop my part in order to get something new from whatever's out there.
You guys, okay. So, same. I have bedhead. Okay. I'm not going to worry about it. This is poly church. Yeah, totally. So same. I resonate with all of that. And so when we connected and there was like a vibe. And we were both like, okay, there's a vibe. But like, let's not decide what that vibe is. And if you watched my, I went live last week with the first episode of something I'm calling a Ragamuffin Polyamory, which is content I'm going to be making around the intersections of my spiritual journey and my polyamorous journey. And in that, I talk about that I am learning that my higher power is having me awaken to the reality of my immaturity as a lover. And I think of myself as mature in a lot of ways, but the reality is I am a very immature lover, and realizing that I love bomb, and that as a demisexual slut, there's this war between my demisexuality and my inner slut. So my inner slut really wants to have a lot of sex. And my demisexuality, my inner demisexual is like afraid of that without a connection. And so my inner slut will meet someone and then like concoct very quickly a connection, and we'll create a story, the story that my demisexuality needs in order to sleep with someone. And then once I have that story, and it's usually a very spiritual story, like, I healed a wound and the universe is rewarding me by manifesting a new lover who isn't anything like my previous lovers. and I will miss red flags because my brain has already decided on a story, and all of our brains have a thinker and a prover inside them. So whatever the thinker thinks, the prover proves. So once my inner thinker has the story, my prover proves that story to me. And so when red flags are shown that go against that story, I don't see them, or I choose not to, or I'm like, that probably isn't a big deal. So that keeps me in cycles. And narcissists love bomb as a means of manipulation, as a means of getting you hooked on that energy so that they can control you later. The humbling lesson I'm learning is that I also love bomb. Now, I love bomb what I would say like innocently, though as a shadow worker, I am very open to the fact that I need to always be willing to see that I might have some narcissism that's love bombing. But I think that my love bombing comes from this immature puppy place. Like, I'm just so excited to be in love, and let me tell you, and it's very neurodivergent and seemingly innocent, and this is just what love feels like, and who you don't want me to tell you that I'm thinking about you all day, and da-da-da. And so I awoke to my tendency to love bomb from this immature puppy place right before we connected.
You want to talk about how we actually love bombed each other?
Oh, yes, we should. But wait, how much love bombing did we do before we were like, wait, stop?
No, we recognized it like right after.
Okay.
Right after.
Because then I told you I'm learning to not love bomb, right?
And I consciously was like, wait, this is the pattern. This is the cycle that I keep repeating. What happened was you were very vulnerable in one of your stories. And I was sending you just like a generic, but like I sent you just I'm rooting for you. You know, you're doing so well, and I'm very proud of you. Oh. You know? And
that's so pumpkin-y.
And then right after you said, I love you.
Oh.
and then I said, I love you too.
Oh my God.
and then right after we recognized that, I was like, wait, let's cool it down just a bit.
Totally. Well, and so many people would go, well, no, that's just sweet. You guys have open hearts. And it's like, totally. But perhaps it would behoove us to like not do that. And then the temptation to be like, well, no, you're actually a safe person to do that with. And now I can just be my full puppy self. It has been really a trip.
Yeah, I just feel like it's okay to say something like that fast, but to be conscious of it. Like this can lead down to this path, which is terrible. It could also lead down this path, which it could also be good. To be conscious of it. Oh,
and yeah, totally. And so what a point I was actually attempting to make earlier was that because I've dated mostly non-polyam people, Albert is actually only my third out of like maybe 20, 25 really amazing relationships that I've had. that I've dated, the third poly person and the only emotionally woke poly person. So, like, the other two poly men that I've dated were great, and those relationships were refreshing because I was like, wow, it is so nice to date a poly person where we're not even talking about polyamory. We don't have to deal with it. We can literally just date. And, like, the polyamory aspect is sort of a back vibe. But neither of those men were really particularly emotional people, and I'm very emotional and very spiritual. So just to match with a polyamorous person who is emotionally woke, likes to be emotional, and is spiritual, y'all.
I don't know if I like being emotional, but I can't help it.
You don't like it? Okay,
it's
so...
the source of a lot of pain.
Oh. Well, so I'm a Cancer moon and a Cancer rising. I'm Sag, Cancer, Venus, and Scorpio. What are you?
I am a Gemini sun, Libra moon, Taurus rising, and my Venus is in Cancer.
Y'all, there's just a lot over here. So that in and of itself was refreshing, and also like the ultimate reason to love bomb and to be like, this is a safe person to just be who I have always been with. So like, I love the universe, DJ Universe, bring in the sick beats. Yes, so it was really interesting because I just learned this painful lesson a couple weeks ago. And if you're on my close friends list, which plug for my close friends list, I very vulnerably told what happened in this recent dating situation that I had. And I was like, it was just a very, very painful lesson and a huge wake-up call for what I keep calling in. So as soon as you were like, whoa, this was love bombing, we immediately entered this like, okay, let's be conscious. Because you can be conscious and I can be conscious, and like we should do that together.
Yeah. and I think that really comes from the abundance versus scarcity mindset, right? Where it's like, I need to snatch him up now because he's like, someone else is gonna snatch him up, or like this isn't gonna happen. I need to like pounce on this vibe now. When in reality, like taking your time is actually better in the long run because our connection really isn't going anywhere.
Y'all, we haven't even kissed yet. But just now I was almost like,
or you're leaning in.
Is it your kink history that makes you very comfortable pacing?
It's that in combination with a decade of experience as a teacher.
Jess does not like pacing. Woo! Yo, okay, woo!
It's a conscious decision that falls into every aspect of my life. When you cook certain things, you can't rush it.
Bitch, please. Okay. Keep going.
You need to give it the right amount of time. The heat or, refrigeration.
Yeah, so we're still exploring what this vibe is, but I pushed that vibe. I tried to. Anyway, we're going to get to that later. Sure. So I was like, cool, well, we're both learning the same lesson, so like let's really hold each other accountable to that. So we've been chatting and it's been fun, and we have consciously chosen not to love bomb, and in the moments that we've slipped or in the moments that we've been like, oh, actually, that actually might have been a love bomb. I didn't realize that. Like, we've been doing that, and it's been really interesting. And I told Albert that, like, there have been these moments throughout the day, like, leading up to, look at these comments, leading up to me coming out here, that I have picked up my phone with the idea that, oh my God, I just got my horoscope. My horoscope message of the day just popped up, and it was unbelievably on point. We'll get back to that later, guys. what was I saying?
You're saying when you first came here, you were conscious of.
Oh, no. So, like, when we were leading up to hanging out, we were, like, getting to know each other. And the NRE was, like, just on such a light melt. I was, like, having the vision of an oven dial.
Right.
That's right. We talked about that.
No, you're saying that you were not like filled with excitement when you got on the bus, right?
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So I'm getting there. So instead of these moments where I would have sent a text like, I'm thinking about you, or I can't wait to see you, I would not send the text leading up to our hangout. But I also wanted to honor what I was feeling. And so I would, instead of love bombing Albert, I would love bomb the universe. So I would just send the thought into the universe. Isn't that fucking cute?
I remember when you said that, like, my heart just.
Totally. Because just as an energy worker and as a metaphysician, the metaphysics of like stuffing that down wouldn't have been good. So I tried to find the sweet spot of, well, I am feeling the emotion and that is who I am. So I would just send the energy into the universe, and I would specifically not send it to you, because that is a very valid form of communication in my world as well, as like spirit to spirit communication. And to me, that energy would have still been as problematic as saying it in text. So instead, I released it. I love bomb the universe, to which the universe could take that energy and recycle it in a way that's like healthy and karmically okay. So that was really cool. But as a result, my husband kept saying, like, are you excited for your trip? Are you excited for your trip? And I was like, I feel neutral. And to be honest with y'all, it's very uncomfortable for me because I relate love to a very intense form of NRE that is likely, like 99% likely, a trauma bond. Because this is the only story I've known. And right before I came, I did a yoga session with a friend, and I pulled a tarot card, and the card I pulled was the beloved card. And I opened the book, and it was like, the medicine of this card is to be careful, to watch out for relationships in which you fall in love. Because when you fall in love, you end up projecting onto that person everything you think love should be and everything you think the relationship should be. Right. And it's good for a minute, but then that person can't hold the projection and it's not who they are, and you fall out of love, and it's a traumatic event that you're going to learn over and over again until you learn to stop falling in and out of love. Y'all, I took a photo of the card. I will upload it on my Instagram. If you're watching on TikTok right now, my polyamorous Instagram is actually Remodeled Love. So please go follow that. And I sent that to them, and I was like, oh my God, this is dead ass what we've been talking about. And so for me, it's very uncomfortable right now because our energy is very calm. And I don't like that, but I do, but I don't. All the NRE I have has been like, out of this world, very intense. I always see like this kind of like, again, back to the oven burner imagery, like at max, burning at max, and then we run out of gas and it turns off, and it usually is very painful. So I feel like this NRE, I would say it's NRE, but it's like calm. My day is not distracted. Like I can get on with my day. I'm not on my phone like I usually am in NRE. And I'm getting my work done. But at the same time, I'm super uncomfortable because I really like to get high. NRE is my favorite drug. And so I'm having trouble connecting to this as anything more than currently friendship, which we're open to. Like we are completely open to us dating and then realizing that we're kind of just like romantic friends, which is a category of relationship in my world as a demisexual polyamorous person anyway. Okay.
Some of my best relationships are romantic friends.
Well, so samesies, but I also have a lot of those, and your girl is looking for very intense sexual connection right now. And so, yeah. I wouldn't say I have an agenda. I just have something very specific that I'm looking for right now, which is I have recently awakened to that I belong in the kink world, and that all of my next healing, spiritually and sexually, is going to come from kink. And so I am looking for a kink partner. I'm specifically looking for a brat tamer. And, yeah.
Are you now?
The problem is, I keep manifesting fake doms. Oh, look, my weekly screen report popped up and it was down 15% last week. See? If I was in like crazy NRE, it would have been up. Anyway, I'm looking for a brat tamer, but I keep manifesting fake doms who have this really intense NRE, and we love bomb the fuck out of each other, and then we have a couple really hot fuck fest sessions. And it's a very unsafe kink space. They're not actually trained. They don't know what they're doing, and trauma ends up happening. So I was telling Albert that I've been looking for a dom who's also a nice guy. And they said, but what you need is a nice guy who's also a dom. I was like, oh.
You were like, really? You answered that just like right away. Like.
Yeah, so this is everything I'm learning, and then Albert's going to share what they're learning. So I'm learning not to love bomb and not to jump into story, and we both do that. So it has been very interesting and beautiful, to be honest with you, to watch us consciously not get into story. And there have been a couple moments this weekend where we slipped, and some story was created. By story, I mean like the meaning of like, wow, we were brought together for this and this and this reason, and it's a very big, important reason, and also deeply personal reason, and we're gonna do XYZ things together, and a lot of future making. This is what's gonna happen in the future, and that leads me to I am looking for a kink partner, and it's the thing I've wanted the most in the world for a very long time. And I haven't been able to find it. And as a demisexual, I cannot just get on FetLife or Field. I have just been asking the universe to call it in. And every time I think that I have found that person, so I'm not saying it right now. I am not saying that I have found that person. But it does so happen to be that not only are you a brat tamer, but you are very experienced in kink. And so there was this moment last night because we were deciding like no expectations on this weekend, and we're both demisexuals, and so we're like, let's explore the vibe. I can't connect sexually until I know what the vibe is. And so we haven't been, like I said, we haven't even kissed. But we've been very romantic and cuddly and stuff. And like the fact that my boundaries haven't been pushed is kind of what started to open me up last night. And I tried to push the boundary. Well, I wasn't thinking of it as that at the time.
Yeah.
And there was this moment where I was getting very bratty because I legitimately I was pouting because they were holding the boundary, and I was very annoyed at that in a cute way, and was like trying to push it a little bit. And then I realized that not only in that moment were you brat taping me, but also that you were teaching me kink. And it was like,
I think in this world, in the mainstream, people jump into kink dynamics just without even thinking about it. And you know, people talk about power dynamics all the time. Like, that is the most dangerous power dynamic to get into. There's such an imbalance, and to do it without any sort of research, without any sort of foundation, it's just asking for disaster. And so anyone who's going into the kink world, you have to consciously create a very safe and stable foundation with the person that you want to engage this with. From any perspective, whether you're the dom or you're the sub, that should be your first priority.
Yeah. So that's my everything I'm learning right now. I'm gonna hand it off to you.
Sure. Something we were talking about last night. Right. Even before this whole trip, I sent you a message and I said, I don't have any desire to go into a sexual realm with this trip. I said that straight up. And when you told me, you said, well, I might push it a bit. Like I might try to push that. And then
only because you said you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
That's the demisexuality.
Yeah, and
for
so
sure.
it's not just respecting your boundaries. It's also reminding myself that I have my own boundaries.
Which also blew my mind because I've never been with a mask partner, specifically like born cis male, that had boundaries.
That's funny how that works, huh? We're just taught like, oh, we're just sexual creatures. We just want it all the time. And I subscribed to that idea for most of my life. And it's only very recently, and after going through many kink experiences where me and the person I was engaging with were left just hurt and like damaged forever just from that experience. And again, it's back to the cycles. Like, how do I not do my part in damaging someone's experience? And that is the only way to do it, is to have your boundaries and to reinforce them. To say, okay, we're going to do this, and we're not going to go past that. And then next time you could take a little leap, like we're going to do this and this, and not go past that.
And it's frustrating because I know it's what I need and I know it's the right thing.
There's the pouty face again.
But what did I tell you? I still need to tweet this, but the most frustrating thing about being a demisexual is being an impatient demisexual. Oh, Albert's anchor partner is calling.
How do I silence this?
I think that I get to meet. I hope that I get to meet your anchor partner today. Anyway, yes, the hardest thing about being a demisexual is being an impatient demisexual.
Yeah.
I call dibs on that tweet. Don't somebody fucking tweet this.
Let me tell you, I don't enjoy pacing. I don't enjoy waiting, but I have to.
Okay.
Like for your sake and for my sake.
Yeah, but you're so fucking woke. Really quick, somebody just asked, how do you avoid making mistakes during NRE? You make them. And then the next time you find a conscious person and you tell them, these are the mistakes I make during NRE. These are the things I'm not going to try to like make again during our NRE. And can you help hold me accountable if you see me making them?
NRE has gotten me to do so many things, and like right when I find myself in that situation again, something triggers in my head. Like, that was incredibly painful. That's still, for me, that's the only way to learn. I don't want to go through that pain again, especially the same exact pain. Like, how bad does that feel to just go feel it over and over and over again, and to feel that you had a big part to do with it?
People are asking, what does NRE mean? NRE stands for New Relationship Energy. It's the dopamine high you get when you are experiencing requited new love. It's that high you get when you're crushing with someone. And it happens in all types of relationships, even monogamous ones. But polyamorous people talk very bluntly about NRE because it is a drug. And as a polyamorous person, you could get as much NRE as you're able to connect with other people. Can I just say how much bisexual energy I'm serving right now? Because I have an iced coffee, a hot coffee, a bottle of water for hydration, and a sparkling water for the bubbles. Anyway, back to you.
The mainstream media calls it honeymooning, I think. And I think when I was like monogamous, I also call it honeymooning. But it's nice to put a term to it because it's something that is very real, and I've never met anyone who doesn't feel it.
Okay, so back to you. what were we talking about? Oh, going slow, kink. You don't enjoy holding boundaries, but you do it.
Right. I also want to dive deep into my deepest desires, and I also want to like fulfill the fantasies that I have, but it's like, how do you get that? The only way is to like very consciously and intently create an environment where you can do that. Right, as a dom, they say you're creating a space. You're creating a space for the sub to enter, so that the sub can then fill that space with the things that they desire. And that takes practice. That takes a lot of shadow work.
Fuck, that's so beautiful. You knew if you dropped shadow work, I was going to have a feeling.
If I'm creating a space and I inject my own shadows into it, imagine what that does for you to enter.
Holy fuck, totally. And as a healer as well. Like, if a healer is not doing their shadow work and someone comes in to have a healing session, you project your own shadows onto that person, and it can do them harm and you harm, and you're going to receive the karma of that. It's the same metaphysics. That makes so much fucking sense. Yeah. Kink is amazing. I can't believe I'm going to be 36 on Tuesday, and I'm going through this weird experience awakening right now as a demisexual, where I'm realizing not only do I belong in the kink world, but kink is the only thing that turns me on. And so I've had a lot of sex as a demisexual, where my inner slut just really wanted to have sex, so I had it, but my demi switch was not turned on. I was having it against my demi's will. And now I'm realizing that the only thing that turns my demi switch on is kink. And I'm surrendering to that, and it's confusing and scary. But it's also empowering, because now I know I'm just not going to engage without that dynamic anymore. And so I am like, do we have that dynamic? ? And guess what? I didn't get to find out on this trip.
You don't seem very happy about it.
No, I am very happy. I trust you completely. I do. I'm being cute, but because I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. I am outside my comfort zone right now. And I wonder if I rush things as a form of self-sabotage.
That's an interesting thought.
You're really cute.
I would not like to fall into that, like into that sort of mentality, and to help you self-sabotage yourself. That sounds terrible to me.
It's like mutual masturbation. It's like mutual sabotage.
Mutual sabotage.
Mutual self-sabotage. So somebody just asked in the comments, what are common mistakes that happen during NRE, which I think is a really great question. Love bombing. Even if you're not a narcissist, I personally think love bombing is a mistake that happens in NRE, because the dopamine's flowing, you're feeling a lot of intense feelings for someone, and you end up sending out these really intense vibes that ultimately are not sustainable. That's the key thing for me. I have this imagery of, you know how you like form molds to make things, like let's say a candy mold. So in NRE, your mold is being formed, the mold of the relationship between the two people. And if you're not careful in NRE, you can form a mold that is ultimately not sustainable. So rate of communication is too much, too intense, too often, and eventually your life will get out of balance. So you're going to miss a deadline at work. Your children are going to be like, Mommy, why are you on your phone so much? And your heart's going to break. Your other relationships, whether romantic, domestic, friendships, are going to be like, hey, where have you been? So basically NRE will throw your life out of balance. And then you have formed this mold with this new person that says we text good morning every morning, all day long, and then good night at night, and we sext, and we love bomb throughout the whole day. And then all of a sudden you're like, hey, my life's out of balance. I need to downshift. And that downshift becomes unbelievably painful. And that downshifting can bring out both partners' attachment traumas.
It's like a come down from a drug.
It's it's the MDMA come down for sure. And so, in my younger days, I was like, let's go full blast and I'll deal with the come down later. And now I think it's a maturity thing, but maybe it's just a flavor. I don't want to say it's universally more mature. I'm trying to form during NRE I'm trying to keep an eye on the mold we're forming. Is this mold sustainable? Because I don't want to downshift. I'd rather love bomb the universe than love bomb our text messages, so that the mold that's formed is actually something we can sustain long term.
I've seen people move in together, get married, have kids, purely high.
I know, that's true.
Yeah, and it's just like you are moving in with someone who you have not like practiced any like sort of like nesting with. Like I feel like that's so important to be like, how messy are they? How clean they are, and to just give them a key to your house and just invite them into your space is just, it always ends in disaster. It always does, without any sort of planning.
You know, the day that I realized I was learning this, it was the day that I went live with Ragamuffin Polyamory and talked about that. I think that my love bombing is a sign of immaturity. It's not just cute and sweet and like, oh, that's such a sweet way to love people. I saw a meme on the account Late to Lesbian on Instagram that was very serious in calling. It was like, when are we going to talk about how U-Haul lesbian like tendencies are a sign of immaturity in the lesbian community and a form of like narcissistic love bombing? And I was like, because we make fun of the U-Haul lesbian thing and we think it's sweet when lesbians U-Haul, and it's very intense. Like sapphic love is fucking intense. When you combine NRE with a sapphic connection, it's like not even of this world. It's like next dimensional. And so I thought it was just like an accepted piece, an accepted element of like lesbian connection. And to see that account on that same day that I was having that thought, I was like, wow, it's just echoing what you just said. Like it was dead on of like, when are we going to see that U-Haul feeling as a sign of immaturity in the relationship and in both people? Sapphic means like a woman loving woman connection. Yeah, so echoing everything that you just said.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you.
Someone just asked, how do you love bomb the universe? I'm actually very curious about this too.
So by love bombing the universe, like when I would have something that I wanted to send Albert that was like probably like a cute photo of me at work with like a caption of like sitting here thinking about you all day or something like that, I would stop, notice that that was of love bombing. If I sent that would be a form of love bombing, and instead I allowed the feeling to move through me because I wanted to honor that is the text I wanted to send and that was the feeling I was having, and I just imagined it. I used my imagination to do energy work. That's literally what energy work is, to be honest. And I just released it to, I take a lot of my energy to the top of the Sierras in Reno. Yeah, so I took it to the top of the mountains and I just let it go out there.
I feel like I want to, because we live right next to the Sacramento River. I feel like I want to do that. Like I want to put it into the river and just have it flow down.
I would recommend putting it in water, burying it in earth, putting it into a fire, releasing it on top of a mountain.
Yeah, I just, going back to Kink.
Yes.
Yeah. It is an incredible space of healing, of shadow work, of learning about your demons and conquering them. And because it's so incredibly powerful, you need to respect it. And most of the people that I've encountered who are interested or already in a kink dynamic don't have that respect. They just, oh, this is what I saw. And this is I watched 50 Shades of Grey and I want to be a dom now. You know, like I watch porn and like I now want to emulate what I saw there. I want to say, if I were put into numbers, 95% of it is preparation and safety, gearing up, preparing for it. And only like 5% is the actual kink itself. At least from my experience. I can't speak for everyone. That's how I do it. I very intently create a plan for us. And you could deviate from it. You can sort of say, okay, well, I want to try this. And it's like, okay, well, in order to try this, we have to do this. In order to do that, we all first have to do this. And I was so confused when I met kink communities who didn't have this mindset. And I met so many kink communities where it was just a whole bunch of heterosexual men disrespecting women. And I was just like, and they were like, no, this is how you do it. And I was like, not convinced. Just like, I don't want any part of this. And I just kept looking. I felt so lost. I felt just, I knew to my core that it was wrong. And it wasn't until I found a few kink partners who showed me the ropes when I started to realize, okay, yeah, I was right. I knew it was wrong, and I have to create my own way of what I feel is right. And in a way that respects me, in a way that respects the people that I interact with, and respects just the general population, because I don't want to spout anything that puts anyone into a dangerous position. I want to advocate for something that's this powerful and this strong, so that other people can also respect it in the same way.
Mic drop, first of all. Second thing, swoon. There's some bitches swooning in these comments too.
Yeah, and one more thing.
Please.
I just want to say I have made many mistakes in my kink journey, and a bit of it is also trying to redeem myself, trying to be kind to my past self and say, yeah, you fucked up, but like this is how you do better, and the only thing you can do now is to do your best to do that.
That's beautiful. I really want to get to the list, because I gave the list of things I'm learning and the consciousness I'm carrying into exploring what this vibe is, because to be clear, we still don't know what the vibe is. We are staying very present and very conscious, but there were 2 questions. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
That I really liked. One person said, I believe it was on Instagram, how do you scale back when you come to the realization that you have been going too hard in NRE? And my husband just went through this with a person he's in NRE with, and he had a very blunt conversation, a very conscious conversation, and said, we've been going too intense in NRE. I have recently learned that doesn't work for me, because again, we're not speaking in universalism. Some people can do it. I have a meta who loves going hard in NRE and has no problem downshifting when it's time to downshift, and it doesn't affect her. And he was like, I have learned that if I go too hard in NRE, it's very difficult for me to downshift. And I'm also losing balance in my life. I'm on my phone too much, and I'm not being present with my kids. And so I would love to begin to scale back and create an intentional structure around when we are going to chat and not step outside of that. And I want you to know that I'm going to downshift, but I don't want you to feel like my feelings for you have changed. Because a lot of people who struggle to communicate their feelings, especially men, but I won't say that because I actually know women like this too, but in my experience it has been men. They will be freaked out by the intensity of the NRE when they awaken to it, and then they'll just downshift without communicating very openly, I still like you. My feelings for you have not changed. In fact, I like you so much that I am going to make the conscious choice to stop engaging in this destructive behavior. Because when you downshift, the attachment traumas will come online. And also, even without that, it's just a loving thing to do, to be like, hey, my feelings for you haven't changed, but I'm going to change my behavior. So have a conscious conversation and continue to affirm each other. When my NRE changes, I definitely need some affirmation from my partner of like, I still like you. I'm just not going to keep up the rate of communication we've had that has thrown my life out of balance.
You try to be as gentle and nice as you can with it. Like, the way I think of it is like, it feels like a poison to me, to just inject that, to downshift and just be like, okay, all the stuff that we've been building.
Well, it's like driving a stick. Like, if you're going 50, you can't go into second gear.
Yeah, fucking grinds that shit up.
What a fucking awesome metaphor. Yeah, so you need to slow your speed.
You need to create an antidote for that poison.
Damn. We're good. So, and then the other question I saw that I wanted to answer was, somebody asked, well, where's the line? Like, where's the line between I want to tell you I like you, I want to tell you I'm enjoying, falling for you or having a crush on you, and love bombing, which I think is crucial, right? Because we don't want to overcorrect, and I think it is a common thing to overcorrect when you're learning a lesson, and that's fine too. The universe is going to continue to bring you the next person you need to learn your lesson. If you have abundance mindset, there's always going to be another chance. For me, it's an energy thing. So, and I'm being graceful with myself. So if I wanted to send 10 text messages that day that were like kind of love bomby, maybe I only sent one. I don't send 0, right? Because I do like you. And you were perfect. Can I tell you that? Because I was feeling so neutral coming out here that it was kind of like jarring. But then right before I came, you texted me, I'm so excited to see you, heart emoji. And then there was one point where, just as a woman going to meet someone and as a demisexual, I think I said, can you tell me why? I said, can you tell me why you're excited? Because I needed a little more, because we had been so good about not love bombing that I was struggling to feel pulled here. And that was like hard for me. And so they did. They were like, this is why I'm excited to see you. And my heart melted, and it was just the right amount.
Can I just say, like, that was a big moment for me as well. And this is just a little piece of advice for everyone. If you don't feel safe enough to ask something like that, why are you excited to see me? That is a huge red flag. Like, you should feel safe enough to say, why did you laugh at that? Or like, why are you looking at me like that? Like, I feel some weirdness. Like, can you reassure me that that's not what's going on? That is a huge green flag. And that is something that is really hard for me to learn. Because I can tell with certain people, I keep that in my mind. I repress that shit. I'm just like, I don't want to ask them. I'm bothering them. Like, what if they get upset if I ask them that? Like, steer clear of those people. And only go towards the people where you say, I need clarification on this. Is that okay?
Oh my God, as a neurodivergent, that is so helpful. I have a chronic problem of finding relationships with people where the first few times I ask for clarification, I am shamed, shut down, accused of like digging or being
sensitive,
being too sensitive. As a neurodivergent with double cancer placements, it is very confusing world in here. And I felt completely safe to ask you. That is so healing to me. Do you have any idea?
I do.
Oh man. Okay, back to what you're learning. Because I have to go to the bus station soon, and this has been such an incredible chat. And
this is a good place.
I asked them to make a list of everything they're learning and what they are bringing into the exploration of our vibe, and I want them to get through it because it's beautiful. I see the piece of paper.
You told me about this word, semiology. Can you? I can't define it. I've only heard it once. Can you define it before I go into it?
Yeah. So if you listen to the Remodeled podcast, go to anchor.fm/remodeled. Go to our website, remodeledlove.com. You can find links to everything. My husband and I, we are obsessed with the field of semiology. And semiology are the signs and symbols that our consciousness uses to program our reality. And this is not like a woo thing. This is a linguistic thing. And so in the semiology journey, like our brain takes in, this is basically like, when you experience something from another culture that is outside your semiology, you think it's weird, right? Because your brain doesn't have the semiology. So when you see a boy in a dress, your brain finds it strange because the semiology for men in dresses does not exist. Whereas if men in dresses existed in your semiology, it would just be, you wouldn't catch it. You would have the semiology for boy in dress. So our semiology is changing all the time, and the way that you program a culture is you control the semiology. And our goal, one's goal should not be to change their semiology. The goal should be to expand. We want expansion of our semiology. We want to have a semiology that is inclusive and ever growing. And so the goal, when we launched Remodeled Love almost a year ago, it was December 28th, 2020, we launched Remodeled Love, which is the polyamorous page on Instagram, and also on TikTok, I'm Home Slice Productions. Our goal was to expand the cultural semiology around healthy relationships. So right now, the cultural semiology of healthy relationships is very monogamous, heterosexual, and relationship escalator. That's the semiology that exists. The goal of Remodeled Love was to expand the semiology to include asexual relationships, platonic partnerships, kink, solo poly, things that currently the culture is like triggered by simply because the semiology doesn't exist. So that's the mission of Remodeled Love, is to expand the semiology. There you go.
Yeah, and it's just, it's swimming around my head this entire time ever since you've said it, and just I feel like your entire trip, our entire connection is just helping expand that. Show like I love how much you're showing to the other everyone who follows your page, because it's just showing them that something like this can happen in a healthy way. I have this huge complex about being a polyam content creator, is like just to get dates, like just to get men and women to date me, right? And this is just creating, just it's giving me validation that I can do this in a healthy way, and I'm not trying to manipulate anyone with doing all this.
People are begging us to post this live after, and absolutely we are going to, because this has been one of the most phenomenal conversations I've ever had in general, and I'm so grateful that we captured it. And this is what happens when two content creators date, which I think we've done a good job of keeping in check. We haven't been totally manufacturing anything, and a lot of what has happened has been behind the scenes, but this is also one of the benefits. If you are loving this and you want to send us a tip, you can head to remodeledlove.com and send us a tip for our emotional labor and wisdom today, and I will take Albert to breakfast next time with it. But anyway, we will absolutely post this live. So assuming we don't have any technological dysfunctions after we end, this live will be on my Instagram at Remodeled Love. It will also go up on my YouTube channel. All of these links are available at remodeledlove.com. Let's finish in the next 10 with the rest of what you're learning. So you just said your semiology has been expanding. Yes, that's right. And you're going to take that to your page.
Yeah.
If you're not following Polyman Answers on Instagram and TikTok, please do so.
I feel like I hit those already.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we will now take questions for like 5 to 10 minutes. People are saying I learned a lot from this TikTok. Me too. I love how different your energy is and how you constantly go back to a common ground. Thank you. I love the use of the phrase common ground. That's something that we practice. My inner circle practices. We use common ground instead of compromise. Wow, look at all these compliments. I agree. This has been such an incredible conversation. I'm very excited I'll be documenting my journey into the kink world if we decide that our dynamic is to go that way. Because I have a feeling that it is going to unlock a lot of things for me, sexually and emotionally and spiritually. And so it's very refreshing to know, even if we turn out to be friends, at least I'll be able to take it to you as like, hey, you can still teach me kink and make sure I stay safe in that world.
And that's the attitude to have. Not trying to force a dynamic and seeing them as a resource, even if it doesn't work out for you. That's wonderful.
Thank you, babe. Somebody said, I love seeing his Cancer Venus woo your Cancer moon. Totally. Oh, I love when my followers say shit like that. Like when you all see me as a demisexual content creator, I'm like, I'm seen. What is something you wish you did differently when you first opened to polyamory? Oh, real quick, people are saying, I'm so bummed I'm coming in late. Listen, this interview is going to be posted permanently on my YouTube channel and permanently on my Instagram. Instagram is at Remodeled Love. Go to remodeledlove.com. By tomorrow, this interview will be up. It has been phenomenal. If you have missed even 1 second of it, you will be able to watch it. I'll probably also pull the audio and put it on our podcast because it has been that good. Although we look super cute, and I'd recommend watching it. What is something you wish you did differently when you first opened to poly? I wish I had community. That's not something I wish I did differently. The community didn't exist. Being around healthy, woke, polyamorous folks is absolutely crucial to the journey. Not only can it affect your success and where you end up on the path, it will also change your experience of the journey as it's happening. We have a free Discord channel. If you like my vibe, Remodeled Love, you will love our Discord channel. I think we're about to hit 1,000 people. There's people from all over the world chatting all day long. It's completely free. And you will have to email me. Like if you go to my website, remodeledlove.com, you can email me for a link because you need a personal invite to join the Discord, and the invite is constantly expiring in all my links. So you can go to the link in my bio and try to join the Discord from there. I'll refresh it as soon as we hang up, and it might be good.
For me, I just really wish I respected polyamory for what it was and not just jumping into it. I wish I was said, like, this is something that can change my entire life. And I had no idea that it would. It was just like, okay, yeah, let's just readjust this in our relationship. Let's see how it goes. And that's just it's not healthy at all.
Thank you all for watching. Seriously, please, we are putting ourselves out here. We are putting our time, wisdom, talent, emotional labor. We love to do it. But we also live inside capitalism. And if you were moved by this interview at all and want to send us a thank you, head to remodeledlove.com and send us a tip, and any of the tips that come in from this particular video will be spent taking Albert on a date on our next date. So stay tuned for the progression of Jess and Albert. What is the vibe? We'll find out.
Next time.
Go to remodeledlove.com, find all of the links. We appreciate y'all so much. Have a lovely Sunday. And on Tuesday, please wish me a happy birthday because I'm a birthday whore. Okay, bye.
Bye. Ooh.